we are on Earth, and the Earth is just one planet in the galaxy. You can compare that to an ant on the patio in this backyard. The ant doesn't know that there's more than the patio. He just keeps walking. He doesn't know he's just part of lots of worlds. And the human race is sort of like that. After they discovered what's up there, they know they're only a little part of this huge galaxy. I think there probably are many different kinds of cells and organisms. Some may not be visible, some may not have been discovered, and some may be on places we can't go. And they all might have the same perspective as we do on this, that there might be others.
Yeah. Gotta find yourself in this world. Do that, you'll understand yourself better, and you'll understand this world better. Every day is another journey.
Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts, my platform to become your spiritual server. And today we are doing the weekly astrology horoscope for today, the 26th of March, through April 1st, Fool's Day, and Easter of 2018. Thank you all for joining me on this video. I hope you all are enjoying your day and moment so far. So, just looking at the week at a glance, we have a pretty interesting week. It's really going to be mostly the moon that's making aspects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the major aspects that are happening this week, and then go day by day and tell you what you can expect to see. So some of the major aspects that I really see, obviously, later on the week, towards the end of the week, we have the major full moon, which I will be making a full-length video on that in particular, because I really do believe that this full moon is super, super powerful, considering some of the aspects that are happening around the full moon. We are really just getting to this point. It's almost like we're getting to like this climactic point where it's like we have been examining our egos and going through this ego metamorphosis, really, since the sun has been in Aries. After that really intense Pisces transit, we all have been going through like this ego metamorphosis. So now that the moon in Libra is going to be highlighting these energies in Aries as well, it's really going to show us in many ways who we are, and then our relationships and what we have attracted around us in our environment. So the full moon is obviously going to be very powerful. Another things that we have happening this week is we're going to have Venus finally catching up to Uranus. It's getting really, really close. It's going to conjunct Uranus at 27 degrees this week on Wednesday. So that's obviously going to be a very powerful alignment. The other things that we have going on this week is that we're going to have the sun squaring Saturn on Thursday. So we do have mostly harmonious transits this week, but we are going to have we're going to have this sun square Saturn, which is going to we have to have some type of, I guess you could say obstacle or challenge this week. And this is really what I see as the main challenge this week, is when the sun's going to square Saturn. And of course, the other things that we're going to have is that, Mars and Saturn are coming really close together. They're going to begin their conjunction actually on Saturday, the day of the full moon. So Saturday, I think, is going to be the most powerful day of the week. The other thing that we're going to have is that on Sunday, we're going to have the sun conjuncting Mercury, and the moon is also going to be opposing Uranus at the same time. Those are some of the major transits of the week, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go day by day and then let you know kind of what you can expect and what these energies mean and how you can integrate these into your life and how you can move forward through all of this. So on today, Monday, the first thing that we had is that we had the moon trining Chiron at 28 degrees. Now, this is very interesting because, the moon represents our emotions. It represents, in many ways, past lives, because the moon moves really, really fast. So since the moon moves really, really fast, it's like it's almost like the moon is like, it whispers at us. Because as it makes these transits and it moves so fast, it's like we have to we have to be really in tune to our emotions to kind of get that energy, because otherwise it's like whispers. It's like a ghost almost. The moon moves so fast that it leaves behind like this trail of whispers that we have to learn how to tap into. And since, like I said, the moon moves so fast, you have to be really in tune to it. So when it trines Chiron, what this is saying is that like we really can heal. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's that area in our chart where we've experienced trauma. It's that area in our chart where we have opened doors and we have been hurt. So we don't open these doors and we almost hurt ourselves. We almost prevent ourselves from moving forward because we're afraid to open those doors. What is the glyph of Chiron? It's a key. So I want you to think of it as like Chiron is like a portal, and there's a great potential healing in this area, but there's some fear that comes from this. So when the moon trines Chiron, it's really letting us know that we really can heal ourselves emotionally, we really can heal ourselves spiritually, so we can move forward. That's how the week is starting off. The moon is also going to shift into Leo. This is going to give us a spark, give us firepower. The moon was making all of these oppositions to all the energies in Capricorn. It made oppositions to Mars, to Saturn, and Pluto over the weekend while it was in Cancer. So the weekend was very emotional because we were really in our feels, as they would say. But it's like we were like realizing, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to get these things done. I have to really take responsibility and move my life forward, and no one's really going to do it for me. But it's like we couldn't help but feel emotional during all this. We couldn't help but like we had to realize that, okay, am I emotionally secure? Am I emotionally okay to move forward? Because all these energies in Capricorn were urging us to do so, but we had to find this emotional foundation to where we actually feel ready and okay to move forward. So when the moon shifts into Leo, this is kind of like a break from that really, all of that water energy. Because when the moon shifts into Leo, we're going to be more creative, more expressive. We're going to be more in our passions. We're going to be more or less wanting to express like the authenticity of who we are at its raw and at its core. So the moon shifting into Leo, this is very powerful because this is going to make Monday a very healing and transformative day. The way that for today, the best way I can really put it is that if you really want to move forward today, forgive yourself from being hurt in the past. Because sometimes we get upset with ourselves and we're like, I should have had opened that door because that caused me to experience this thing which hurt me. And when the moon shifts into Leo, we have to come back into our heart and learn to forgive ourselves. Realize that we are human. We're all divine, infinite beings, but we're playing the human role right now. And we have to realize that, we have it within us to be that creative, expressive version of ourselves. And it's really going to be important to really embody that over the next few days as the moon is in Leo. The moon is also going to trine the sun today, later on in the evening. So this even brings it more into play. It's even going to bring more of that fiery passion now. How do you express yourself? How do you express the new ego? Because that's really what this is about. This is about reforming the way our ego works. There's a lot of talk within the spiritual community and New Age community about the ego and how the ego is bad and how we need to get rid of the ego and stuff. But we wouldn't have it if it wasn't necessary. We need the ego. We need that Aries energy because it's that energy that allows us to act. It's that energy that allows us to move things forward. There's a reason why it's the first sign of the zodiac, because the ram butts its way through. It gets things done. It might be impulsive, and yeah, it might be a bit of a juvenile energy sometimes, but maturing the energy of Aries and maturing the ego, in a sense, it's like we can learn how to react to circumstances in not such an impulsive way. But the moon trining the sun is going to allow us to get to this emotional stance where we really feel like we can express ourselves. We really can feel like, oh wait, maybe I can reform my ego. Maybe I really can express this new way of reacting, these new behaviors, maybe I really can take these new actions, and maybe these new actions and these new behaviors, will actually allow me to feel better. So that's really Monday. Monday's going to be a very healing day, a day of being more expressive, getting more passionate. Do something that you love to do Monday. Like really, just do something that you love to do. Just express yourself. On Tuesday, we're going to have the moon conjuncting the North Node. So the moon meeting up with the North Node is going to once again highlight aspects of our destiny and the direction that we're going in. The North Node is not really a physical spot in the sky. It's like this invisible spot. But, we're aiming for that. It's interesting how it's like in this world we accumulate things and we have these experiences, but what we're really aiming for is something that's invisible. Because it's like we can say that everything we see here is love, but it's a feeling, it's an energy, it's an essence. So with the North Node in Leo and the moon coming into this conjunction at 13 degrees, it's reminding us, it's like, hey, what you're aiming for is kind of invisible, but it's there, and it's very, very powerful. And it's like our heart, what we have as our heart, the physical representation of our heart, that's just the physical representation of it. There is so much more beyond the physical that we see. So the moon's going to remind us of that. The moon's also going to trine Mercury retrograde at 15 degrees on Tuesday. So this is pretty important just because Mercury retrograde, it's like, we're having to reform our egos, and now we're like thinking about these behaviors that we need to change. We're thinking about the way that we need to react. We're thinking more and reviewing how we did things in the past, how we behaved in the past, and what that brought up, because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So we're thinking about like how actions in the past, manifested our experiences now. So when the moon trines Mercury retrograde, it's going to kind of key our emotions into how we can think differently, how we can think more positively. I really like to say how we can think in a way that better serves us. That's why I see it. The moon's also going to square Jupiter retrograde. So it's like at the same time that we're thinking about how to reform our ego, the moon's going to make this somewhat hard aspect to Jupiter retrograde. And it's going to be like, okay, yes, we have these big treasures that we're unlocking. We have this fortune that we can unlock in our life, and we really can expand. But the way that we get to it, it's like you're going to probably want to jump at it something on Tuesday. You're probably going to want to we're probably going to be presented with an opportunity that is going to make you want to definitely expand your life and do more. But it's like you still have to think and consider more. It's like, okay, if I react the way that I used to react, am I really going to capture this expansion? Am I really going to move forward the way I want to? On Wednesday, we're going to have the moon shifting into Virgo. And it's going to trine Venus and Uranus, and Venus is getting really close to Uranus at this point. Actually, Wednesday is actually probably the second most powerful day because Venus is going to conjunct Uranus at 27 degrees. Venus finally catches up to Uranus, and this is powerful. We have Venus, which people call it the planet of love, right? It's also the energy that allows us to receive. Venus, it rules Libra, so it's about the scales. It's about harmony, peace, and balance. So Venus coming into its conjunction with Uranus is going to be asking us, okay, how do we find peace within ourselves? This is really what it's about because it's this Aries, so it's going to be very personal, right? It'll expand outwards because Uranus also rules Aquarius, which is the masses. But what Venus conjuncting Uranus is asking us is like, okay, Uranus has been going through Aries. It's the planet of revolution. So we already have been revolutionizing our egos. We already have been metamorphosed. Like our egos have already been going through this metamorphosis with Uranus here. But it's been subtle because Uranus, it's really quantum. It's really on a deeper levels. So it's not as like apparent and direct. But when Venus conjuncts Uranus, all of us on Wednesday, we're going to be illuminated to this this part of ourselves, this ego, and how how it really is going through this metamorphosis. It's going to become more apparent on Wednesday. What Uranus has been doing as Venus conjuncts it. We're going to be like, wow, I really am different. Life really is beginning to change. Life is really shifting into this new era. And we're going to start to see how we're going to receive these downloads from Uranus as Venus conjuncts it, because it's like Venus, as it goes through Aries, Venus is like, it's not in its home sign. It's actually in detriment. Venus usually makes these rash actions and these impulsive actions. Relationships that start when Venus is in Aries, they have this firepower and this spark, and it's like almost like things are really exciting, but they tend to taper off. They don't tend to really last that long, because the excitement, while it's there and the firepower is there, it's like a giant explosion, but then it just goes into like this little flicker. And it's like things that we attract into our life, things that we allow into our lives while the Venus is in Aries, they don't have the tendency to last very long if we're not really aware of it. But see, when Venus conjuncts Uranus, it's like we all are going to get this major revelation of how to change, what behaviors are really going to allow us to receive the life that we want. That's going to allow us to receive the harmony and peace in our life that we want. That's what this is really about. And like I said, it's going to bring the changes on a quantum level a little bit more to the surface. It's going to be very interesting. It's like this it's almost like, how do I describe this? It's interesting. It's like we all have been shifting on a deep level, but then on Wednesday, you're just going to probably get like this shock wave, and you're like, whoa, so this is my life right now. This is how things have been going. Wow, so this is what Uranus has been doing down there. And like you're going to receive like this really, I would say almost that on this day, something is going to spark off that actually can last longer. And really, it's going to be this sense of peace and harmony within yourself that you're going to sense, and how you can bring this peace and harmony to the outside world, because Uranus does represent the masses, but it has to start within. So expect a major inner shift on Wednesday to be brought to the surface. On Thursday, we had the Sun squaring Saturn. So right after we have this major epiphany on Wednesday on how to alter our behavior and change our behavior and our actions, we're going to have the Sun squaring Saturn. So it's like we're going to want to do something, right? We're going to want to take action on it. But Saturn is going to be like, okay, but is it responsible? Is it in line with your higher purpose? Is it viable? Are you just jumping into it? Are you taking the right steps? Saturn doesn't like to play. Saturn's going to get work done while it's in Capricorn, but it's also going to be like you want to think things through. You want to feel things through, which is interesting because, Saturn's really not about feels, but, we do have the moon that made all these aspects. So it's like you want to really consider your actions and your behaviors before you take them. That's why Venus conjuncts Uranus before this point. That's why we're going to receive this really quantum download before the Sun squares Saturn, because we're probably going to get this idea to act on something either projects-wise or relationship-wise. But the Sun squares Saturn is going to be like, okay, you have to realize that it's probably not going to happen instantly. You're going to receive this big vision, this epiphany, and you're going to want to take action on it, but you might get a little frustrated because you want it now, right? Like, the Sun in Aries wants it now. But it's not going to happen immediately. So it's really a day-by-day, a step-by-step, day-by-day process. That's what Thursday is really going to teach us. And, of course, the moon is going to oppose Neptune. So it's going to be like, it's going to be a pretty, I would say that Thursday is going to be kind of like a sublime day. It's going to be like, we're going to be looking back on Wednesday and be like, okay, what the fuck happened on Wednesday? We got this really weird quantum download. Like the dreams going from Wednesday to Thursday is probably going to be really intense and crazy and very vivid. But then we're going to have this aspect. It's going to be like, okay, you're going to get really, really excited on Wednesday, but then it's like your excitement's going to almost kind of be tapered off because you realize, oh crap, I have to get down and do some hard work. But you're almost going to be really excited to do the hard work. But the moon opposing Neptune that day is going to bring this sublime factor into it, where it's going to be like you're going to be receiving like these weird little signals and symbols and visions about how really your life is changing on a deep level. But it's like, it's almost like the carrot's being dangling in front of our face and we want it, and then the carrot moves over here. It's like, you know how like you get like those little squiggly lines in your eyes and you try to follow it, and then it goes away, and then you look away and it does that? That's pretty much what Thursday is. It's like you have like this vision and it just like, it's there and then it moves and you shift your focus and it does it again. And that's really what, Thursday is going to be about. Friday is going to be probably, honestly, low-key, one of the most important days. And I'm going to put this into my full moon video later. Just because I really think Friday is low-key one of the most important days. We have the moon going to be opposing Chiron at 29 degrees. This is huge because it's like, now we are really, 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 really getting close to opening up this door and healing, because we're like kind of like wrapping up the healing of our spirituality and our deep essence and our connection to God. Chiron is getting really, really close to going into Aries. So the moon opposing it in Chiron, this is really huge, because we're going to be illuminated to like, okay, almost like this last spiritual hurdle that we have to get over, this last bit of healing that we have to get over. The moon is also going to shift into Libra that day, so we're going to become more aware of our relationships with other people. We're going to become more aware of our relationships with ourselves, and like I said, that Venus conjunct Uranus, like that energy is going to be carried on through. Excuse me, because now on Friday, it's like we're going to start to realize, okay, how can I shift my behavior and have more harmony within myself so I can see that more out in the world. So on Friday, you're going to start getting glimpses of how to bring this peace and harmony out into the world, because Libra represents people, represents our relationships with ourselves, with other people, romantic, business, friends, family. So we're going to become more in tune you're going to become more in tune really to the epiphany that everyone has on Wednesday. It's going to be very unique and particular to everyone. Friday is really going to be the first glance at the change that you see within people. The Mercury is also going to trine the North Node this day. So it's like we have the moon shifting into Libra. So it's like we're learning how to heal ourselves and like actually learn to have peace within ourselves. And when Mercury trines the North Node, we're all going to be on this level. It's like, okay, we're really going to be aiming for this spot where it's like we really want to express ourselves. We want to express our heart and radiate love. That's really what we're aiming for. So Friday is low-key, I think, one of the most powerful days of the week, because it's going to be the first instance where we really get to see into the change that everyone is going through. Saturday, of course, is the full moon in Libra at 10 degrees. This apex is at 8:40 a.m., and that's based off the Eastern Standard Time. And obviously, this is huge because now we are really being illuminated to our relationships. We're being illuminated to the relationship with ourselves and to other people. The full moon, it's a culmination point. It brings something, it's like a climactic point where we are illuminated to how life is at the current moment. And it's almost like the full moon, since it brings a culmination, it also brings an ending. So what's really ending on this day is how we behave in our relationships. Because all of our egos are going through such a transformation, we realize that we have to transform it so it can be recalibrated to the spiritual just evolution that we went through while the sun was in Pisces. The new ego has to match up with that so we can make actions and behaviors and take on these experiences that are more in line with that higher spiritual vision, the full moon in Libra is really going to illuminate. It's like, okay, so this is who I am, and this is how, I guess people in the world may see me, or this is like how my relationships are. So on Saturday, and the moon is also going to oppose Mercury. Mars and Saturn are going to begin their conjunction at 8 degrees. Saturday is obviously a super, super powerful day. I don't want to put this out there, but you can expect breakups on Saturday. You can expect just different things just coming to a head. You can also experience major relationship healing on this day. If like I said, you can experience major relationship healing on this day as well. But Saturday is probably going to be, I guess, one of the more strained days, because we realize that we all have to release something. On the full moon, we're releasing something. Everything's being illuminated, and then we have to release some aspect. So what we're releasing is probably this disharmony that we've had within ourselves. And when we release this disharmony that we have within ourselves, you might not vibe with people the way that you thought that you vibed, because everyone went through like this really quantum evolution, this quantum metamorphosis that Uranus is still doing while it's in Aries, but Venus is going to bring this up to the surface. So it's like we shed away these old negative thought patterns and these old ways of being. We begin to shed this away so we can have more harmony within ourselves. And then when you open your eyes, you're like, me and this person, we might not actually vibe on the same level as I thought we did. And that's what you're going to feel. So it's like, will you sever ties with this person? You might, or maybe you just compromise, because Libra is also about compromising. It's the scales, it's the balance. So it's like, okay, you have shifted in a deep way, I have shifted in a deep way. How can we work this out? How can we balance these shifts so we can be more in harmony? Or it's like, well, you have to go your separate ways, and that's just how it is. Mars coming into Saturn is really going to highlight, this we're bringing this deep passion and wanting to move things forward with Saturn. It's going to be like, okay, there's going to be some steps that we have to take. There's going to be some hard work. So it's like, if you do agree to continue these relationships, even though the nature of these relationships is changing deeply on Saturday, Mars and Saturn coming together and beginning their conjunction is like, it's going to almost give you like, okay, we have this mountain to climb, and it's going to be, step by step, day by day, and it's not necessarily going to be easy, but it's going to be very, very rewarding. Relationships that go through this metamorphosis on Saturday, or relationships that decide to find harmony and balance and decide to stick it out, they are going to achieve this greatness if they really just see it through to the end. If they go step by step, day by day, Mars and Saturn coming together on Saturday is also going to give them almost like this boost of energy. It's like, okay, you're going to decide to do this thing. That's great. But know that it's going to take some work. It's going to take some effort, and nothing is automatic. So that's Saturday. And then Sunday, the major thing we have is that the sun is going to finally catch up to Mercury retrograde at 11 degrees. That's Easter, April Fools. It's kind of interesting how April Fools and Easter are synchronized. I think that's very interesting how they are synchronized. So it's almost going to be like, I wouldn't be surprised if there are breakups on Saturday and then you try to get back together on Easter. Like, that's kind of almost how it is. Or like relationships might falter a little bit, but then it's almost like Sunday you wake up, it's like April Fools. Okay, it's almost like there's like this resurrection. So it's like Saturday, I would be like, don't be so quick to just jump to conclusions. Don't be so quick to be impulsive, because on Sunday when the sun conjuncts Mercury and the moon is also going to be opposing Uranus, it's going to be like, okay, it's like were we too hasty on Saturday? Like, did we just jump, and were we a little just too impulsive on Saturday? Because there's going to be that tendency, the moon's going to be full. So it's going to be really tugging on our emotions, right? It's going to be tugging on the tides. We are 70% water. So it's really going to be like pulling on that essence of ourselves. Sun conjuncting Mercury is going to be like, it's going to bring our ego evolution that we have gone through, and this ego metamorphosis, up to how we've been rethinking all this stuff, and it's going to bring it together. So Sundays are really going to be this day as like where we finally start to get it mentally of what we need to do, what we need to change. And the moon opposing Uranus also this day is kind of interesting because it's going to highlight over this point of this deeper quantum evolution that we all went through when Venus hit Uranus. It's really quite interesting. I think this week is going to be a very transformative and powerful week. I think it's going to be a week of, I think it's going to be mostly positive with some interesting challenges. And I think that this is going to be a week where it's like, it's almost kind of like this mini graduation for our egos, because we're going to go through this spiritual evolution the entire time while the sun is here. And when the sun conjuncts Uranus eventually, that's when we're really going to see that quantum download when Venus hit Uranus. We're really going to see that quantum download when the sun hits it, but that's, of course, in the future. That's going to be a future video where I talk about it. But I think this week is really going to be a week of just taking it step by step, day by day. You have different goals and aspirations that you want to work towards. You are morphing, you are shifting. This is going to be a week of just be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself and forgive yourself. We all have done crazy things. We've all have taken crazy actions. We all have opened doors that have led to hurt. But the thing is that we really can heal. And honestly, like, I've been thinking about it, just looking at my personal life. It's like, I'm kind of getting to this point where it's like, I really just want to just move forward and like do this full time and just like, but I've also been getting these hints, like, you know, yesterday at work, I didn't have the easiest day at work, but I had multiple people tell me, it's like, you're really good at what you do. And it's like, I'm a server. I say this is my platform to become your spiritual server. And it's like, I will always be a server, whether it's in restaurants, whether it's through making videos, whether it's, I don't know, whatever I might do in the future. Who knows? That's just who I am. I am a server. And really, but in order to serve, we really have to come into our heart and just radiate. I'm actually surprised. I didn't know that my camera was going to cut out there. But like I said, the best way to serve is to really find that peace and harmony within ourselves and to radiate our love outwards. Because it's like, in order to really serve people, I think what happens a lot of times, especially within the New Age community and those who consider themselves empaths, is that we invite people in for this healing and we want to help others, but we don't have that much to give. I think what we have is that we outsource a lot of our power and we want to heal the world and help the world, but we neglect ourselves so much, and we just feel famished almost of this energy and this ability to serve other people. That's really what I think this is about, because it's like, I think what a lot of times empaths will do is that they'll invite people into their home and they'll tell them all of this amazing food and these that they prepared, and this amazing feast and this dinner that they prepared, and then people show up and there's not really much there. It's like there's food on paper plates, and not that there's anything wrong with paper plates, but it's like it's lackluster. That's because we really have to focus on ourselves and find that peace and harmony within ourselves. I think so many people want peace and harmony in the outside world, but it's like the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. So it's like we really need to find it within ourselves. That's what Venus conjuncting Uranus is going to really key in on us. That's really what that quantum just jump like it's gonna be almost like a quantum, like just space jump when Venus conjuncts Uranus, because we're gonna be like, oh, that's how I actually bring balance, peace, and harmony to the world. It has to come from within first. So really, that's really what this week is about. And I really do think it's going to be a powerful week. I think it's going to be an amazing week, a transformative week, where we all really begin to understand more ourselves and this change. And really, it's going to be like, this change is going to happen no matter what. So that's really what's happening this week. And like I said, I'm going to draw cards for each of the signs, and then I'm going to let you guys get out of here. Thank you for joining me. The overall card for everyone is actually going to be completion. And this is actually learning how to complete ourselves. We have to learn how we are all integral in this life. We are all integral pieces of the puzzle. But the only way that this puzzle is really going to fit together is if we find peace and harmony within ourselves. And also we have to figure out that sometimes people try to put squares into circles and triangles into rectangles. Like those little, like those little blocks where you try to put different things in. Some of us have been doing this the whole time, and it's just not working, it's not fitting, it's not fitting, it's not fitting, it's not fitting. And we have to just accept that and move on. That's just how it goes. We have to accept, and really it's like, and here's the funny thing, this might actually fit if we like address our inner world first. We might be surprised. Maybe things actually will work out, but we have to address that inner world first. So I'm going to draw cards for each of the signs, and then I'm going to let you guys get out of here. Hope you all have enjoyed the video so far. Just know that I love you all so much. You are able, you are beautiful, you are creative, you are divine, energetic sparks of the infinite. I so much believe in you. Alright, so Aries, what we have. Aries, we have moment to moment. This is incredible because this is what we're all going through because the sun is in Aries, but you more so than everyone understand that while you normally would be more impulsive and wanting to move things forward and get things done, you know more than anyone that you have to just take this transit moment by moment. Because if you try and skip stones, you're going to fall into the river. And I think a lot of times that's what we do. We try and skip stones while we're hopping across this river, and that's how we fall into the river. We have to take it step by step, and you Aries more than anyone is going to understand this, that we have to take it step by step, day by day. Taurus. Taurus, we actually have success in the verse, or 6 rods in the verse. This isn't bad. I think this is interesting because you have had Uranus in your 12th house this whole time. So it's like you've been feeling this quantum level on a deeply spiritual level. And what you're probably going to come into is like kind of like this glimpse of success, this coming success that you're going to have. But it's going to be like really just like dangling in front of your face. And you're going to feel bad about it because you're going to be like, dang it, why can't I have it now? But it's in your 12th house. So it's like, you have to just be a little bit more patient. The success is there. It just might not look like the way you thought it was going to look like. And that's actually a blessing in disguise, Taurus. Gemini. Gemini, we actually have inner voice with the high priestess. This is going to be interesting. Just because, once again, this is kind of similar to Taurus. It's like, but this is in your 11th house. So it's really talking about, your communication with the world and, other people and the society at large. So you're really kind of feeling like you just feel kind of incongruent with the masses. You just kind of feel like you haven't really been molding with what everyone is doing. But really what this is about is like you have to find your inner voice. And once you find your inner voice and you begin to listen to your inner voice and begin to feel the harmony and peace, you will actually be able to see it reflected out on the outside world. So Geminis, you this week, you're probably going to see more so than most of the other signs how finding peace and balance within yourself is going to reflect on the outside world. You're going to see it in small ways and big ways. It's going to be very interesting, but you really have to just tap in and listen to your inner voice, Gemini. Cancer. Cancer, we have trust. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. This is the Prince of Cups. And I was right there with you because, like I said, the moon was in Cancer. So you this past week, and you were probably really emotional. You were really like, "Oh my goodness, I got to get all these things done." But I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I'm really secure yet. I don't know if I found my foundation. And it's like you're kind of just have to just jump in this week. You have to just jump into the waters and just trust, Cancer, because I promise you, because this is about your legacy and stuff. This is about what you're going to bring to the world in your career. You're trying to figure out, I need to feel secure in myself before I can really bring this healing to the world. And that is true. And when I'm talking about the houses, I'm talking mostly about the Venus conjunct Uranus, because I think that's really important. That's why I'm highlighting in these cards. So you really just have to jump in and just trust. You've been feeling a lack of trust lately because you haven't been really feeling really secure. All these energies are on cardinal signs, and they're talking about go, 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 move, move, move forward. But you, Cancer, you're kind of like, wait, I need to consider my emotions a little bit longer. And I agree with you. I have Cancer as my 8th house. So the moon this past weekend kind of wrecked me, and I had some very interesting dreams. But really, Cancer, what you need to do is just trust that this quantum revelation that you're going to receive on Wednesday is going to bring you that peace and harmony within yourself. And you are going to find your foundation. You are going to find those that make you feel better. You just have to trust, though. Trust, trust, trust. All right, Leo. We have the Queen of Rods, or sharing. All these cards are interesting reverse. I do both readings. I do reverse and non. So Leo, before you share, you got to make sure that you have food to give people. That what I said earlier about inviting people over and telling people that you have this big feast and stuff like that. You've been talking it up, and then people come over and you don't have that much to share. So Leo, really this week, you have to almost kind of rekindle that fire. It's almost like, not that you haven't been expressing yourself and being creative. I mean, you are Leo, so you represent the sun. So, and like now the sun is like, is trining your energy while it's in Aries and stuff. But it's like there's like this deeper thing that you're trying to find, this deeper essence. And you have to find that and really kind of hold on to that and just kind of resonate with that. Then you will actually really begin to share this deeper understanding of love that you just have innately, Leo. You just have it innately. You'll be able to share this with the world once you find that peace and harmony within yourself. Virgo, we have the Dream. That shit was reversed. Most of the cards are reversed. We have the Dream with the Six of Cups. So Virgo, you know that things are not in order. You know that in order to get your ducks in a row, that you feel like you have to come behind people. You feel like you have all the details, and on a fundamental level, it's like, this is how things should look, and everything will just run so smoothly. But is it a pipe dream? Maybe it is. And you have to realize this week, Virgo, that in order for the dream world that you want, where everything is in order and everything's functioning and everything's smooth and going and everyone has their ducks in a row and society just looks, it has that harmony, you have to find that within yourself first. So I would say that this dream isn't a pipe dream. You can definitely turn this dream into a reality, but you have to realize that you have to start with yourself first. So it's like you're super analytical, you're super about the details, but this Venus conjuncting Uranus is going to be like, okay, you do have this really awesome dream that you can bring to the world, but you have to work at it, Virgo. And not everyone's going to get it. Not everyone's going to get it like you, Virgo. You rule reality. So not everyone's going to understand the dream, but just work on yourself and you will manifest it. You'll be okay. Libra, we have possibilities. This is incredible. The full moon's going to be in your sign and Venus conjuncting Uranus. Possibilities are open. you can soar. You're going to be able to attract new relationships into your life. Your current relationships are going to evolve, and this is going to open up new possibilities. Whereas you thought certain relationships might have been over or they're done, you're going to be keyed in on oh no, there are actually more possibilities here than I realized. And really, this is going to begin with yourself, the relationship that you have with yourself, and this is going to open up this knowledge and this insight to there really are so many opportunities and blessings and possibilities out there that we blind ourselves to. But once we just take the time to find this peace and harmony within ourselves, we will be able to see all the possibilities. Libra, focus on yourself first this week. I know that's hard for you because you really are about peace and harmony and about connecting with other people, and sometimes you get your peace and harmony vicariously through other people. Focus on yourself first this week, and you will see all of the possibilities that are open to you. Scorpio, we have patience in reverse. This is kind of perfect. Scorpio, you are been feeling this breakthrough, and it's been bubbling up and bubbling up and bubbling up and bubbling up. And you're just ready. You're like, oh my gosh, can it come? Can it come? This requires a little bit more patience, Scorpio. You really are. I know for me personally, it's almost like we have like this new vision and this really amazing thing we want to bring to the world. But in order to build this thing, it does require some patience. So Scorpio, we just need to bunker down a little bit, just take it step by step, day by day, and it will come to fruition, but it does require some patience. So this quantum download that you're going to receive about how to change your behaviors and your actions, you're really going to start working really, really hard, Scorpio. But just be patient. Things will come in time. Sagittarius, we have the Six of Swords, and this card is actually known as the burden. A lot of times, you probably feel like you've been carrying around this load. In this case, it's like this person who has like a rooster on its head, right? So it's like, sometimes we carry around these burdens and stuff like that, and it doesn't really allow us to move forward and travel. It's kind of funny how this is the Six of Swords, and that's really the card of travel, but we have to release these burdens in order to do that. So in order for you to... And really what I see this as is that your inner world, because like I said, Venus is going to be conjunct to Uranus, so in your inner world, there are places that you've been wanting to travel to, but you've been carrying around this burden, and it hasn't allowed you to travel to these inner worlds, so you can unlock these amazing treasures, so you can just show people how amazing and beautiful this world is. But in order to do that, you have to drop the burden this week. You have to allow yourself to move forward, Sagittarius. Capricorn, we have flowering. This is amazing. This is beautiful. It's the Queen of Pentacles. So Capricorn, this week you are really going to reestablish inner order. You're going to reestablish this inner peace, and it's going to really bring about this, because you see how on this side her hair is white and then on this side it's black, so it's like this integration of these dual aspects and how we need both of them to flower. It's like a flower, it has male parts and it has female parts, it has yin and yang. So Capricorn, you're going to have this epiphany where it's like you're going to establish this inner order, and it's like there's like new politics inside of you. It's a new game. It's almost like you established like this inner sense of order that's really going to allow you to flower. And it's going to be on the inner. It's going to be on the quantum level, and you eventually will bring this out to the masses. But Capricorn, really this week, you're just going to feel this inner peace and this inner joy, because you're going to be like, okay, I really can bring this to the world, and then we can actually, in many ways, make society more harmonious. But it's going to come from the inside first, Capricorn. Aquarius, we have nothingness. This is interesting. It's a Hierophant card. We have nothingness. Blank slate. You probably have been kind of feeling like you've just been kind of hanging there, Aquarius. Like you've been trying to figure out what you want to do, what you can bring to the masses, and you just really have been just kind of floating. You've been just like, okay, you've been kind of checked out this whole time. Probably because we have all these energies in your 12th house. So it's been like trying to figure out what direction to go in so you can put in the hard work so you can get to where you want. I really see this as, nothingness, but then a spark of light. You do represent the star card also in tarot. So I think what you're going to go from is nothingness to this incredible pure potential, and then like a star is going to be born, Aquarius. But it happens on the inside first. And Pisces. Pisces, we have the Three of Rods, or experience, in reverse. So you, of course, more so than a lot of the people, more than any other sign, have been going through the spiritual evolution and the spiritual download. And now it's like you really are trying to learn how to find your self-worth and your self-value. So when Venus conjuncts Uranus in your second house, it's really going to key you in on this new sense of self-esteem and this new value. And now it's like you're going to feel more okay to bring out your quirkiness, to bring out your creativity. And you have been wanting to experience these areas of yourself. You've been wanting to experience what life would be like if you behaved in this way, aligned with your spiritual integrity that you have been building. And now you're going to begin to turn this right side up, and you'll be able to actually experience this. And you're going to open up this world where, Pisces, you can be your creative, unique self, and not everyone gets you because you're so magical, but you're going to experience some really profound magic this week, and it's going to be in the realm of your self-worth and your value and your self-esteem. This is really going to help you. This is really going to help bring some more magic into the world, actually. It's going to be amazing. Pisces are going to begin to show people what happens when you really believe in yourself, and just the magic and the beauty that you can experience when you do that. And that is your astrological weekly forecast. And I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me on this video. If you enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe. I have a lot of great content coming your way. I'm looking to get my website finished by April Fool's, actually by Easter. So I have quite a bit of work to do because I have actually a gift that I will be offering everyone who subscribes to my website. Take it step by step this week. Seek that inner peace and harmony. We're all going to be tuned into the inner peace and harmony, and now we're going to be learning how to match that with our spiritual evolution and how to match that with our ego that's being recalibrated to that spiritual evolution. Thank you all for joining me. I love you all so much, and just take it step by step, day by day. And of course, remember, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often.
Please try to understand that I'm only human. I may make mistakes at times, but I'm only human. I may hurt people, but still I'm only human. I may get depressed at times, but I'm only human. I refuse to believe that I'm just only human. I'm a product of God, you know I'm more than human. I can overcome anything cause I'm more than human. My objective is changing lives cause I'm more than human. I'm more than human.